All right.
Sure.
All right. What school do you play basketball in? What year?
College or high school?
College.
College, I played for San Diego State University from 1985 to 1987.
Were you openly out while playing?
Was I openly out? That's a good question. To some, yes. 100%, no.
So that people on the team knew you were?
Yes. People on the team knew that I was gay. I was actually in a relationship with one of the players. So everyone on the team knew, but in the community or classes, no.
Did your coaches know?
Our coaches knew, but tried not to acknowledge it.
So they knew you and the other teammate were dating?
Not me specifically, but they knew that there was a group of us, and they could surmise that, yes, we were together, but no one would really outwardly own it. And I think part of that, too, to be honest with you, they were on scholarship. I was not. So they always wanted me to be the spokesperson because they were afraid like their scholarship would get taken away. So I don't know if it was because of their sexual orientation or just they wanted me to say something, and what was he going to do? Take away my scholarship? That was always the big joke.
Yeah. So it obviously just wasn't you and your partner. Were there how many other girls were out?
Yeah, I would say, probably of the 12 girls, I would say probably 6 of them were gay, and the other 6, I don't know, hadn't figured it out yet, but weren't openly out, I should say.
Now, were you guys treated any differently from the other girls who weren't out?
No. We were one big team. It didn't matter, which was really awesome because I don't think, for me personally, I think in high school, I never really acknowledged it. I think in looking back, I think I knew that I was, different or had different feelings, but I never really acknowledged it or acted on it. And I think in high school, or in college rather, it was kind of the first time I was really around the gay community. It happened to be my teammates, so I was very comfortable with them. And then we would go out to the bars and, have fun like most people do in college. But really it wasn't until then, I think, before I kind of acknowledged it and thought, like, it's really okay. It doesn't take away who I am as a person, who I am as a basketball player. It's not something you didn't wear the rainbow flag and, run around and say, hey, I'm, Gary, whatever, but I just did my job, and that was pretty much it.
Now, were there any terms in the locker room used that offended you, that maybe just slipped out, that offended you?
Not really. I think women are very different than guys in that sense. So no, really, there really weren't any big issues.
Well, what are your thoughts about athletes coming out while playing with the new Michael Sam and Jason Collins?
I think coming out in general is kind of a personal choice, and I don't think you really can say, I'm going to wait till I'm a professional athlete and then I'm going to come out to make a point or to make a statement. So, I think it's bold of them, especially, I think men in a traditionally kind of tough sport to come out, I think is challenging, but you know what, at some point, to be honest with you, you kind of get tired of denying who you are, so you're like, you know what, I'm not going to live this lie anymore, so I'm just going to tell the world, and I think famous people who do that, I think help those of us that are just kind of the typical people, because it's like, if it's okay for them, why isn't it okay for me? So I think it's, okay as far as just accepting who you are versus, being identified that you're the gay athlete. I think you want your work and your athletic ability to speak for itself, not your sexuality. So, I'm hoping that, we're kind of moving into that era where it's just not going to be a big deal anymore.
Yeah. So do you think a player should be based, I know there's been some talk about it, about a player being drafted sense on their sexuality or their performance?
Performance. Absolutely. I mean, do I draft you because you're straight?
True, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
do I say I'm only, but back in the days there were coaches that, only drafted, or rather only, at least in women's basketball, there were coaches that were like, I don't allow gays on my team. And I think they used it as a recruiting tool, because I think to tell parents that, oh, I don't have any gay people on my team, the parents might feel like, oh, well, they don't promote that. Not like anyone promotes, being gay or not being gay, but rather, that was a push in women's sports, specifically basketball. The Penn State coach, Renee Portland, was very anti-gay. And even now, if you look at Brittany Grimes from Baylor, she was basically told at Baylor she is not allowed to discuss her sexuality. And she actually wrote a book on it. You should read it. It's I haven't read it, but you should read it. It's pretty remarkable. Like, she was told not to share who she was, and she's the best women's basketball player right now in the world, and so she was kind of denied that because people were afraid of what it was going to do, bring bad press to the college. So, I think we've come a long way. I still think we have a long way to go, but I don't think someone should be judged for their sexuality or chosen for their sexuality. On the other hand, I think some sports teams and stuff who do kind of give that gay athlete a chance probably might get more gay followers. It might be a reverse PR move.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts? Do you think when men come out, they're treated differently than women when they come out, kind of like vice versa? Kind of how society sees it?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think we have in our world, like, men traditionally are the workers and go to work and make the paycheck and so on and so forth, and women are kind of, supposed to take care of the family and take care of the husband and, in our traditional roles. So, I don't know. I've never really done a study. Are there more gay men than gay women? I don't know. I would hope that they wouldn't be treated differently, but I think it's, like I said, I think it's a personal choice that you when the time is right. For me, it was late, very, very late. Like, I think I was 24 before I even told my parents. Of course they knew, but I was probably 24. I know a lot of kids that come out right now in high school, elementary school, they're starting to feel different, and they talk about it. That would never have happened, and I'm not that old, but that would have never happened, 20, 30 years ago. So I think it's just more accepted, and, people are just looking beyond that. Look at the equal rights, everything that's happening. I think, it's come a long way. I'll tell you, a long way.
Have you seen a difference from playing 20 years ago and then how it kind of is now, how it's kind of changing? Was there a difference, you saying, the whole, how it's maybe stricter back then? Do you think it's different now? With players?
I just think players back then just weren't out. Like, there was too much fear of, you weren't sure, and, the uncertainty of, would you keep your scholarship, would you not? Now I don't think it's even a big deal. I think, I think there's traditionally kind of a higher percentage of women, at least in sports, who I think are gay. I don't know why, but that's true. I don't know really with the guys. Actually, quite frankly, I don't think there's many gay guys that are that great of athletes. I mean, in my experience, that's a total generalization, but like the guys that I know that are gay, I'm not sure they play sports.